Hey everyone.
Welcome to Brownie Sunday. Everybody clap your
Oh
hands.
my gosh. Okay. As you can see, Jalen's excited. I'm excited too. I mean, this is our first podcast episode.
Yes.
Well, it's the first one we're releasing into the world.
Yeah, we had a lot of practice runs,
Yes.
practice goes.
We did.
So if you judge it, you're judging the 15th. I don't know, whatever. Judge what you want. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
We don't need you.
Okay. So just a little bit about us. We are both actors living in LA. We love, obviously, watching TV and watching movies. So we're like, why don't we just do this and share it with other people? You know?
Yes.
And on top of that, we're married. We're newlyweds.
We are newlyweds. You still have confetti from our other wedding.
Yeah, we just
In
went
your
to...
hair.
We actually went to our neighbor's wedding a little earlier. They had a beautiful wedding. It was like, we got invited impromptu because, it was like, they don't know us that well, but they know us. So when they saw us today, the bride was like, hey, I'm getting married at 3 o'clock. Do you guys want to come?
And we're like, sure, drop everything for a wedding.
Yes.
Let that be known for that to be me. That came out weird. Basically, I'll drop anything for a wedding.
Me
that's
too.
That's what I'm trying to put out there. We
Weddings
had
are...
all hella plans.
Even if you don't know. Okay, I heard of people wedding crashing.
I think that's weird.
Like,
I'm sorry.
I mean,
It's
I don't think it's weird if you do it with a friend. I don't think it's weird. I think it's like, if it's like they got seats and it's not going to be like where somebody else is, you're taking their seat tag, like name tag out of their plate or whatever, and they don't have anywhere to sit. As long as you're not doing that.
I think it only works at a buffet.
I think it's adventure. It's exciting. It'll be exciting.
You're dangerous.
No, because think about it. You're like, oh my gosh, we're dressed up. We're going to go in here and we're going to be like, congrats. And they're going to be like, think that you're just one of the million people that got invited. You're somebody's plus one and you get to eat the food and dance. It's like, I don't know.
Okay, I don't think you think wedding. I think Wedding Crashers, the movie, and Wedding Crashers in real
watch
life
that again now.
are two different things.
I don't know. I've heard
because
of people
we
doing
tried to plan a wedding, and there's a budget, and because of this budget, there is plates. So I will know if you crash that shit because.
I mean, it's
plates.
It's risky, but that's what I'm saying. It got to be like a huge one where, I don't know.
There's this one wedding that I worked when I was a caterer, and it was like $2 million wedding, something ridiculous. Oh, so that one you could have crashed easily, 4 times over. You could have brought the whole squad.
I mean, I think you can get away with it if they are the same race.
That's true.
You might be able. They might be like, oh, okay, that must be somebody's date. That might work.
That's a good point.
But anyway, we digress. So we're newlyweds, and we're doing this thing, and it's great. It's great.
It's been great.
So this episode we're actually about to do today is based off of Coming to America. We watched it on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm. Amazon Prime is the only place to watch it currently. So I'm sorry. I think it'll be able to be rented soon though, because usually they try to make your money stale. So hopefully they'll make it rentable soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to buy it too.
Have to.
Because there was like a lot of great, things in music and stuff. But before we get into Coming to America, okay, it's a number 2. It's not T.O. because you'll get confused with the first one and you type it in. Well, whatever.
You'll get here. You'll get here.
Before we get into that, though, we do have a segment which we are going to call Real Stories, A Princess Found.
Ooh, mic drop. Welcome to Real Stories. Where the stories are real.
This one is about a princess, okay? So this woman, when she's adopted, her name is Sarah, right? And she knows she's biracial. She knows her mom's white. She knows her dad might be probably West African, right? That's all she knows. She's been adopted. She was adopted like before she was even 1. So when she gets to graduate school, she decides she wants to start to look for her birth parents. So when she does her research, she ends up finding out that her mom, unfortunately, already passed away from cancer. So now she has, her dad's side that she has to research. And she hires someone, and they come back with, girl, we found your uncle. So he's gonna, you should call him. You should give him a call. She's like, okay. She calls. And she's expecting like, oh, hey, wow, great. We'd love to see you. Awesome. That's it. Her uncle tells her, Sarah, we've been looking for you. You're royalty. You're African royalty. Okay? And you're what's considered a princess back home. So I believe it was Sierra Leone was where they were from. And they're like, yeah, your uncle is a chief of, thousands of people, and you also could be a chief. So, hey, great news. There you go. Just drop that on you. So what would be like your reaction if you found out that you are literally African royalty?
I would just be like, these whites been lying to me this whole time. I knew they was lying. That's the first thing I would say. And
but they didn't know.
It don't matter. They was lying.
Okay.
They were saying I wasn't royalty. They said I couldn't be black and beautiful. But look at me now, y'all.
Oh my God.
Look at me now.
Look at me now. Look at me now.
Paper? Did she get paper? I don't know if she got paper.
Princess. Look at me now.
That works.
Look at me now.
Are we nay-naying now? Okay, all right. Okay. So I would be very shocked, first. Second, I would be like, hell yeah. And I would have to go and just see what's up.
And that's exactly what she did. She arranges for her flight. She gets there and she meets her father. And he gives her this beautiful green dress. And he tells her it's like an African kind of print, fabric. And he says, Sarah, I'd like for you to wear this dress tomorrow when we go to the village. And she's like, okay, great. So they go to the village, and all of a sudden the crowd parts. And these women start walking out wearing the dresses in the same fabric that Sarah has. And they start singing this beautiful song saying, like, basically the translation was, we're preparing for Sarah. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so breathtaking to see them. Like, they showed footage of, them walking out and singing. And it was just like, I think about how living in America, and she talked about this, Sarah, she talks about this like in the interview, how we're always taught that we're descendants from slaves. Your ancestors were slaves and they worked here, and that's it. You just a non-slave. Basically, I feel like our title in America is non-slave, not even just like a person.
Yeah.
And just how whenever she sees a story about, like a movie about slavery, she's like, oh, another slavery movie. And it's important, to know the history of slavery, right? But at the same time, it's not all we were. And she was saying how we were doctors, we were educators, we were musicians, artists, just so many things, religious leaders, like royalty. There's some of us that were royalty. And we'll never know that we're descended from royalty, literally. And Hollywood does not really, there are not many stories about what we were before. And so I know we've talked about this, and I want to open the floor to you to go and talk about this as well, like how there's just so many slavery stories, and those are the ones that tend to win the most awards and win
it's
awards.
on purpose. It's how best do you keep someone down? By showing them that they were down already. So if we're constantly reminded of our history of trauma, then the trauma we're experiencing now makes more sense because it came from somewhere.
Dang.
So if there wasn't a quote unquote bright time for us, then
there's nothing to aspire to.
Exactly. Then we can say exactly where we are and do exactly what we're doing and be content with that. However, once we started to find out, like, no, we was kings and queens that had gold and shit on our necks and legs
and diamonds.
diamonds and
Yes.
elephants and stuff.
Riding like elephants
And we find out that, and so now we're like, well, this is what we were. So why you keep trying to tell us that we weren't that, even though that's not what we know we were?
Yeah. Like, don't tell me I'm worthless. I know I'm not worthless.
Exactly. So ultimately, it just makes me feel that everything is on purpose. Like the term knowledge is power is there for a reason, because the more you know about certain things, you operate differently in space, in the world, or whatever. So if we have been gifted that knowledge from the beginning of our lives, that we were kings and queens, then we would aspire to do things that kings and queens do.
Yeah.
In a modern sense.
I feel like we were the wealthiest kings and queens, right? Because like you said, we had the gold, the diamonds. Like, I know that coffee, there like is something that came from Africa, like the cocoa bean, just different things. We had like everything. You know, like life originated in Africa, right? So we're the original kings and queens. So you're right. I would like to see, that's why Black Panther, you know, was obviously so special and so important, because they showed us a different, you know, something different, and you don't see that often. So,
yeah.
And actually, she is in talks with Disney to make a story about, you know, discovering about, like, that you're a princess, like basically her story.
And they gonna find a way to make her some type of animal or something for half the movie.
If they do, I hope no. I mean, you know what?
She was an adopted cat, and then she turned human.
Stop. The thing is, though, that
when
woman,
she went to Africa.
The thing is, though, the Sarah woman, she is very, just because it's her story, and because she's also like super, super smart. You know, you could just tell she's like smart as a whip. And just, I feel like, you know, because that is her culture and her family, I don't think that would happen. I think she would make sure it don't get made, or it gets made right.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, you know, but one last thing before we close this off is, like, she did, one thing I really admired about her is that she didn't just go, okay, great, thanks so much, it was awesome meeting you all. When she saw that there were issues so a civil war had been happening for a long time there over blood diamonds, and it ravaged, like, the whole, you know, area. Like, lots of people lost their lives, a lot of people lost limbs, a lot of amputees. And then a school was really damaged, and her grandfather had helped build the school. She stayed, and she started a nonprofit. And when she went back to the U.S., she got her adopted family, came back with her biological family, and they worked together to repair the school and stuff. And I just thought that was amazing.
Me too.
So, wow, she's a princess.
She
stepped into that role. Like, she literally stepped into that role and just filled it perfectly.
She did.
So that's all. That is real stories.
Stories.
Found.
Until next time.
So we just watched Coming to America, the second, or what did you say, the sequel?
The sequel. Okay, can we, out the gate, that was real confusing. I thought it was going to be like a subtitle or something. You know how they have like the sequel?
Yes.
And it was like Coming to America,
yes.
You know.
Okay.
Hakeem's Revenge.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
You know what I'm saying? Like something like that.
Stop.
And then it never came out. I was waiting for it. And then I just saw it too.
No, me too. Okay, that confused me too. I thought maybe I was just like not hip enough for the role. I was like,
okay.
I thought like maybe, you know, just everybody knew this and I just, you know, found out that it was coming the number 2 America. So I was like, okay, whatever. I guess I'm just tripping. But I thought it was originally Coming to America 2. I thought they were going to have 2 too.
Oh, wow.
And then when they didn't, I was confused. And I was like, wait, what was the first title? Oh, it must have been The Word 2.
Yeah.
But I was very confused as to what the first title was. I started questioning everything. I was like, was the first title called Coming America? Like,
I don't know.
America's Coming? I was just like...
Yeah. So...
So, okay, so aside from that, let's give a brief synopsis of the movie.
Okay. It is continuation of the 80s movie? The 80s, right?
Yeah.
80s movie, Coming to America, which features Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, John Amos.
Shari Headley, I think it's her name.
Shari Headley, yep. Yeah. James Earl Jones. And in this continuation, the original character is now king. And he is trying to find an heir to his throne.
Right. So he finds, as in trying to find an heir, he finds out he has a son who lives in Queens, and it's not the queen, his queen's child.
Yes.
It's the other queen's child, the city, the child of the city.
Oh God.
And so he's on a quest to find him. So that's pretty much it, right? That's all.
Yeah,
you don't have to say anything.
Yeah, because you don't want to. It's too good.
I know. I don't want to give away all the great things. Okay.
Okay, so do you want to do your initial thoughts then?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Initial
You
thoughts.
Go first. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
just like say credits over. What do you think?
Oh, credits over. Loved every single second. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
The fresh, like. The fresh energy they gave to it, the modernization, like the music, the just... Also love how they continue to have, even though it was in Zamunda, they still had like, a lot of the African American, cultural things mixed with this, this Pan-African, thing that these cultures that Zamunda embodies, which is like Pan-African, right? Combination of all the different. So... the costumes. Oh,
Ruth Carter.
My gosh. The costumes. The performances. Oh, that's all I can say. Leslie Jones.
Say her name.
Leslie Jones, just hilarious. I mean, so many hilarious people, but she just stood out to me in this movie, the most, in the best way. It's just every little thing she did was just so funny. It was so good. So go ahead, you know.
Well, I was happy it wasn't corny because I was expecting it to be corny. Why?
Because older people made it.
Yeah, if I'm being 1,000,000,000%, yes. I was expecting it to be like, let's recycle the same joke 15 times. But at the same time, that's my own doing or my own misleading because it is the Eddie Murphy. So it should not have been on my mind to think that. So that was dope. I think my favorite overall part of the movie was the big family vibe of the whole thing. Like, even the bad guys felt like good guys, kind of. Yes. It just... And before we had watched it, I had been talking to you about how I miss those type of movies where in the early 2000s, mid-2010s, they would have those rom-coms or, like, kind of like, action comedies where they're always rated PG-13. And... You go, the date movies, the movies you go on dates with.
Yes.
When you're in high school, or, even as an adult where, you don't want an R-rated movie and see too much. Sometimes you don't want to be doing all that.
It makes a very uncomfortable date.
So awkward. I've never taken anyone to an R-rated movie before.
I've been to a movie that was, I don't know if it was R-rated, but it was like, there was a very graphic scene.
Oh, God.
Where a woman is violated. And,
oh, Lord.
And it was like a first date, and I'm like 16. It was a first date with like
what
a
movie
boy.
Was this?
Some Kevin Spacey movie. He was invisible.
The Invisible Man?
Was that the movie back then?
I think he was in The Invisible Man, yeah.
Whatever it is, yes.
Of course Kevin Spacey violating. Jeez.
No, not Spacey. Ooh. You know what? Ooh, I said the wrong name.
Oh, God.
Kevin Bacon.
That's different. Those are two...
Right, when you said, of course Kevin Spacey violating somebody in a movie, I was like, wait, what? He's never done it. Oh, I said Spacey.
Oh,
That's what I realized.
he's got such
No,
a...
it's Kevin Bacon. But anyway.
Okay, Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon,
so
Kevin
I get what
Bacon.
you're saying is like those types of movies where you can actually comfortably sit, you can laugh, there's a little romance, so there's a little bit of chance to be all like, you see that? Yeah, okay. I get you.
I miss that, and I feel that I want this movie to start bringing that stuff type back. I mean, those type of movies back. I'm not saying specifically it has to be a love story. It can be, you know, two friends going on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
However, I just feel that our society is it's starting to sway the other way, where we're losing a lot of those movies. It's more of real dramatic or for kids. There's no real in between anymore. Or it's a superhero movie, you know, we had to have those. But outside of that, we're kind of losing that. So I love that this movie brought that back. And black people. Exactly. That was cool.
I liked how they like, you know how now we have more people are listening to more like African artists, you know.
I have noticed a switch for sure.
And so I liked that, how they had it again. It was this melding of like, you know, black culture and African culture, just like it is happening kind of now. Like people are, you know, broadening, like to include other African artists. If you're black, you listen to more African artists, and you know, vice versa and things. So I liked that. I liked that a lot. Yeah. Me
too. So.
So I have some thoughts. I have a question.
Okay.
If you don't have one,
you go first. Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest thing for me when I was watching this movie that I was taking away was, so he has 3 daughters, right? Oldest one is Mika. It's his name backwards.
Oh God.
Akeem, it's like an anagram of his name.
That's
Akeem
funny.
Mika, which I was like, I see. Okay. So he has these 3 daughters, and all of a sudden, Wesley Snipes' character is like, oh, you know you need a son, right? And his daddy, well, he didn't say it. Wesley Snipes' character didn't say it, but King, James Earl Jones said, you need a son.
He said it.
They both said it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
They both said that. And so they put this in his mind that you need a son, even though he was perfectly content with his daughters, right? That made me think about how many times are we just living our life the best way we can, listening to our gut, following our intuition, following the signs, right? Doing what we know how to do best, be ourselves. And someone comes along and tells us we're doing it wrong, or that we need more, or that we should be doing something different. That's what that made me think about, because then I feel like that's when the conflict started, right? That's when the whole point of the movie starts to get put into motion. So I want to know what your thoughts are like about that and the role that plays in like people's lives in general.
That's a great point. Everyone ruins you. I guess that's what my takeaway from that is.
Even your own parents.
Sometimes, yeah. Because if you could just live in a vacuum, and in that vacuum you only hear your own positive thoughts, then you'd be unstoppable. But that's not how that works.
No, not at all.
So I do love that they showed him having so much fun with his daughters. Yes. And before this whole conflict happened, because it solidifies your point, saying that he wasn't even thinking about that at all. I think those people are the universe testing you and seeing if the values that you say you believe in or say you uphold are really true. Because what's a value if it's not tested? It's just something that you said if no one ever tested it. You know what I'm saying?
That's deep.
So he had to get it tested by having someone else say that what you have set up in your life and that you're comfortable and happy with isn't good enough.
And I feel like things like that happen when you do get to a point where you feel really comfortable and solid. That's when something comes along. It's never when you're kind of just like teetering or, like, oh, should I do this, or second guessing. It's when you finally go, I have everything I want. in the world. I'm happy and content with my life. And then that's when knock knock, like that's when someone or something comes in to make you doubt your decisions or just doubt your life. Like, am I not, doing a good job? Should I be farther along? Whatever those doubts may be, But I felt like that was what it was in the movie. He was like, am I not following the rules? Am I not protecting my family for the future? Am I not prepared?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it made me think about how in the first one, he was on the other end of the whole rule following. And he just went against it without any problems, without thinking about it, because he knew deep in his heart that that's not what he wanted. However, in the second one, after assuming a new role, his views change? Or does the role make him feel that he has to change himself? Because at the end, actually, we won't give away the end. I won't give away the end. It's a habit when I talk about it.
Yeah.
In the film, he goes through a transformation. So we'll just say that he's not the same as he is, in the beginning.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And throughout that transformation, he learns a lot about his different daughters and, their whole thing and that stuff. And I appreciated the fact that they had a movie where the man was challenged by the tradition, by an outside source, but also the fact that no one in his circle ever thought that anything was wrong.
What do you mean?
So it was only the other tribe that was
yeah.
The other tribe, the other tribe and the daddy. Those are the only two people that were saying anything about him having to change his life.
Yeah.
And I feel that in real life, that happens all the time, where you may have, let's say, a chorus of 3 people that are supporting you, but then you have that one person from your past that kind of tries to remind you of your mistakes or remind you of who you used to be or how you used to operate. Dang. And then tries to pull you back in, because that's what that movie was about. It was about him being pulled back in or having the opportunity to quote unquote right a past wrong was the whole point of the movie. But it's only wrong in the eyes of the person that didn't win. So it's not wrong to Hakeem because he got everything he wanted. It's only wrong to the person that felt like they didn't.
Yeah. It's like, right. It's like bringing trouble to someone.
Yes.
They're completely content. And it's like you tell them something that kind of shakes them a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And whatever the intentions are, because I know his dad, King Joffrey, his intentions were he really felt that this is what was needed, right? Mm-hmm. He's thinking from an old traditionalist point of view that's outdated, right? Whereas the enemy from the other, what was it, Nextdoria? That was the name of the country? Nextdoria. He did it for, selfish gain, for because of jealousy and different things. So yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like the intent can be good or bad, but either way, it's like the outcome is still the same. The damage it does is still the same, right? Mm-hmm. Still the same. So I just realized I like that they showed the two, that it doesn't matter like what that initial thought was behind why they said it. It just still messed with his world, right? And so like, okay, when you said about the thing about people from your past kind of maybe reminding you of your mistakes or kind of trying to basically tell you like you ain't all that, you used to be like this, it don't matter. I just thought about how many times you see that on TV and film too. That same like trope where the character has like an old friend or an old family member or someone that just kind of tries to just drag them back in, and not let them fly and flourish, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's deep what you said. That's really deep.
Thank you. I'm realizing that I think the reason why these type of movies work so well is because they're not just empty stories. You know what I'm saying? They're not just cool things that happen to entertain you. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of callbacks to different lessons that we all were taught as kids. A lot of callbacks to other movies, for one, and the lessons that we were taught in there. So I think that's part of the thing I feel like I'm missing now that we talk about it. Because in the beginning, I was talking about, how I miss the old-timey, well, not old-timey, but you know what I'm saying, like the early 2000s, 2010 movies.
Family oriented. Or like friendship, community kind of happy feeling movies,
Yes. I think I miss the lessons. I don't feel like Hollywood teaches any lessons anymore like that. At least not to adults. It's more of who is the most dramatic, who is the seediest in the backest corner.
Oh my gosh.
It's not...
I get what you're saying. Maybe it's like the content has shifted in a certain direction, more dark.
Definitely dark.
But you know what? I mean, some dark times. I don't know. I feel like every era, every time has dark times, but we've really seen some dark times now, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But you raised a good point. You said Akeem, he was more risk taking in the first movie, right? Mm-hmm. He wanted to break with tradition, and he set the tone. He was like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm going to go find a wife that I want to love, and she's going to be American, right? Second movie, he was very much, I have to listen to what my dad and next door warrior dude says. Do you think that was because of when you get older, you don't take as many risks? Do you think it was age that made it? Or do you think it was... Well, this may be age too, because he felt more of a sense of responsibility. Like when you're young, you may take more risks because you don't have a lot of responsibilities. The only person it may hurt maybe you, right? And you're like, whatever. If something happens to me, it's fine. But now he's a father. He's a husband. Do you think it was those things that made him go, you know what? It's my duty to protect them. I need to find a male heir. Or do you think it's just because he's much older and he wants to be like, play it safe, which is just what you start to maybe tend to do as you get older, because you know how dangerous the world is, and and they kind of go hand in hand, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a little of both. I think it is definitely his age. Because as you get older, as you know, you have more responsibility. And with that more responsibility, you have more people damning you for doing something wrong. So I think as he got older, his mistakes were on a bigger stage. So just more people would just give him negative energy, one, if he did anything wrong. And then two, I think everything starts from the top down. So if, say, we look at Coming to America from the peasant's view, or the people in the kingdom, him having a female heir now changes the dynamic of the whole nation. It's not just...
Dang, you're right. They did kind of touch on that, about the laws.
Yeah.
Dang.
Because it's not just, fun and games.
You're right. Anymore. It's like it changes the whole... It changes the whole way of, like, that everyone operates. You're right. Because remember they had a law that women can't own businesses? Now if he makes a woman, his daughter, his heir, she's going to inherit the throne. Then, right, it's like changes just all of that. Now, of course, she's going to make it so women can have businesses,
Exactly.
And then women are going to be working more, outside the home and doing different things. And I think it's like that whole male dominance, that, you know, the reason why a lot of men just kind of do things like that's the way it's been done, because a part of them knows that they're on top and they like it.
Mm-hmm.
And they just feel, whether they really believe it for malicious reasons or because they really just believe it because they were taught that. They believe that they should be in power, so they want to stick to that. And if they have to, you know, speak some little things in your ear to get you all shook so that you keep following the rules, hey, why not?
Yeah.
So, sorry, I just had to say, okay, Samoa, okay, everyone, Samoa is our cat. He just, while you were talking, he was on the side of your chair, looked up, looked at the laptop, looked at me. Then I was looking at him like, don't you do it. He hopped up onto the ottoman, right past the microphone.
Oh, God.
Hopped down to the floor, then ran over to my chair, scaled my chair, crawled across the top, hopped onto the table, then hopped from the table onto the floor.
Oh, my God.
Back from the floor, back to... It's just like, he was just like, I want attention. I want attention now. Y'all not giving it to me.
I don't understand.
It was just so crazy. Just to hear him do everything. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to address that because it was just so deliberate. Like, he was like, yeah, you ain't looking at me? Okay, I'm gonna hop across all your shit.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Okay, but anyway, yeah, that's a really good point what you said. So I have another thought, but I want you to ask a question if you have one for me.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So. Okay, now this movie made me think about birth orders, right? Because he had 3 daughters. Okay, and I thought about my dad, because you know my dad has 3 daughters, and I'm the second for him. But it made me think about, okay, the whole time before they told him he needed a male heir, he was raising his daughters. Remember they had the fight sequence where they were training, just like how he used to train with Arsenio Hall's character. They're training. We see, okay, he's one of those hands-on dads because he wasn't training with James Earl Jones before, right? He's training with his friend. He's one of those dads like, hey, I'm going to teach my daughters self-defense. I was like, I like that, right? And they were fighting him. They were beating him. It was good, you know, whatever. So all of that he was doing, it would make you, one would think, yeah, he definitely was raising them with the mentality, of course, my daughter will take over. He wasn't thinking anything else. But that made me think about, do you think that parents, okay, do they raise their kids with a mentality, like even now, without kingdoms and stuff, you know, regular people? Do you think they raise their kids with the mentality of, like, my firstborn is going to be the one to, quote, take over or, you know, be in charge, you know, whatever that may mean? And then how does that affect how those kids grow up? Like, how does that affect how the oldest child is? How does that affect the middle, youngest? I know there's all kinds of studies, but I just feel like I didn't realize that the parents do still do that. Like, you know, they kind of do. And I thought it was more so because, you know, you're the oldest, so you kind of have to take care of your younger siblings. So, you know, they kind of try to make you more responsible just so that if they, you know, are busy or whatever, you can handle your siblings. But now I'm thinking it's a deeper thing. Like, they have a inner thing of, maybe my child will one day do this or do that. Maybe they'll take over the family business. Maybe they'll be, I don't know. But I just think it makes the oldest child too stressed and the youngest child maybe sometimes too ill-prepared. What do you, I know you agree, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think
and the pressures, because like Mika, like, you know what I mean, I know she had a lot of pressure. He didn't go into that, but I'm sure she did because she was the oldest, you know, and she's named after him.
Yeah,
I mean, for him to just like be like, oh, I need a son.
The common trend I'm starting to notice is a lot of parents that are like that only feel the need to pass on what they have if they feel like they didn't reach whatever they have's full potential. It's always about the child continuing it on to its next like step or its next wonder or its next greatness. So I feel if the parent already felt that they had gotten that on their own, then they wouldn't feel the need to pass it on or feel the need to put pressure on the firstborn to carry the weight of whatever they established already. Because it seems like they don't want
it to end with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as the other siblings, at least within the realm of the movie, they didn't have any worries or cares.
Right.
Because they already knew they weren't next up.
They're like, we good.
Exactly.
We don't got to learn how to do the customary dance to greet the visitors real good, because that's going to be their job. The older sibling, they're the one that's going to have to do it really well. Yeah.
I mean, as an older sibling, that their job thing is disgusting.
Their what?
That their job thing you're talking about. I hate it because it goes well beyond just whatever someone else says to you. If you're the older one and this is how you were taught, it's within everything you do. Mm-hmm. You always feel that you kind of have to take care of it.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
Or it won't get done. Or you'll get blamed for it if it doesn't get done.
Exactly. Because that's what happened. I would get blamed.
I swear, parents be knowing that the other sibling be doing stuff, but they want to act dumb and be like, "Who did this?" Like, okay, like remember what I used to tell you?
Yes.
About me and Maya when we were kids. Maya was like a little graffiti artist, right? So she just loved. When she was real little, she loved drawing on anything, walls, you know, furniture, like in our room. She even started carving her name into stuff, like the wooden dresser with like scissors. Like, wow. Yes, like she just loved tagging, putting her name on stuff. And my mom was going to ask, or my dad's going to ask, like, who did this? Like, who do you think? I'm not taking time out of my day. I'm busy watching Power Rangers, eating cheese puffs, okay, and going to ballet class. I don't have time to be carving Maya's name into stuff. Well, but they would ask me,
it seems
did
like
I do it?
It sucks, but it seems like they wanted us to be a third parent. Because if you get in trouble for what they do,
I'm gonna stop it.
Stop them.
That's messed up.
It.
Okay, that just made me angry.
Does it not make sense?
That just made me real angry. Like they playing mind games on us.
It makes big sense to me, though.
They playing mind games.
Yes, it is a mind game.
Next time, and then they go on high five. Our parents go on high five next time. She gonna make sure she don't do it again. That's right.
Plot twist. I still let them do it. Every time I never stopped him. Didn't care.
But you know, yeah, it. And then it goes back to the middle child being ignored.
Yep.
Did I honestly felt like the middle child in this movie, the middle princess, was ignored. Yeah, I saw her like a few times.
And she was Eddie Murphy's actual daughter.
Yes.
And she got
But
no
I definitely
love.
felt like she was more demure. You know what I mean? Like she, like, you know, she had her glasses, and then she, you know, was kind of like always wearing something like still beautiful, but it was just more understated, right? Her clothing, whereas the oldest, Mika, was like fashion, you know, and then the youngest was like cute and fashion, you know, and the middle one was like, yeah, fashion, but like she was wearing like white or, you know, black. And the others had colors and prints and stuff. So that was interesting too. I wonder if that was a deliberate.
You know, Ruth did that on purpose.
Yeah, you know she did. You know she did.
She did.
I was deliberate. She's like, yeah, Mika's she's the firstborn. She's got to look great. She has, you know, her own mind. She has a strong sense of self. She's gonna be wearing this athletic stuff. You know, 'cause she's the strongest warrior. You're right. Ruth did it. She did it. Yeah, but yeah, it's like the middle child is like ignored, kind of. Not kind of. I feel like middle children would say, yeah, we're ignored all the time.
Yeah.
And then the youngest is just like, oh, well, I don't have the energy to stop you, so I don't know, just Judy feels best.
Why do I feel like everyone wants to be everyone else? Like the younger ones want to be the older ones, and the older ones want to be the younger ones.
1,000%.
Basically, everyone lost.
Nobody's happy where they are.
No one won.
No one's happy where they are. You're right.
No.
What I wish I could have been the youngest, like most times. But then sometimes I'm like, no, I got to, experience everything first. And I know, you know what I'm saying? I
would have been the youngest.
was with my parents were together longer in my, eyes. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But you wish
I would have traded a divorce for being younger. Yep. I would have traded.
Wait. What do you mean, traded a divorce?
Because, I mean...
Oh, you would have...
I would have had less time of seeing them together.
Oh, you're saying you would still want to be the youngest, even if you couldn't see your parents together as well.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get it. Yeah, nobody's happy where they are.
Nobody's happy. So, let's see, what else? Definitely Leslie Jones. If you only watch it for Leslie Jones, then
she is so funny. Like she's already always funny, but in this movie, I just feel like, she just had me laughing out loud. She is just every little thing is the little things that she does.
happy she's not on SNL anymore. She gets to shine finally.
Yeah, that she gets to really like be other roles and besides Whoopi Goldberg, yes.
She was Whoopi Goldberg?
They always had her play Whoopi Goldberg after if Keenan wasn't playing Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah.
What? Okay.
And I always feel like, so I feel like the difference is, on SNL when she would be like the black woman, they would have her be like the sassy black woman, but it was kind of like, I don't know, like kind of like the butt of the joke, whereas this was like she was a sassy black woman and it was like it was empowering. She was empowered. It made you want to be friends. Be like, well, I wish I could be in Queens in the 80s and be friends with her. You know what I mean? Going out and stuff. It wasn't just like, look at the sassy black woman amongst a sea of regular white women. And that's why she stands out. She stood out because she was Leslie motherfucking Jones. And she was hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another thought about the fact that, I love that there were women. There was so much female empowerment in the movie, I felt like. Like the queen was snapping off on him, and telling him what it was, right? When he was like acting all brand new, the King Akeem. I love how it's like showed that she may be the queen, but she runs this just as much as he does, right? It made me think about how being a girl dad is more praised now, whereas before it was like, poor Jim. Look at Jim. Yeah, Jim has only girls. Like, people would be all sad or making fun of... They wouldn't actually be sad, but they would act like they were sorry for you. Or they would make fun of men, like how Kobe said people would always ask him or say, you only have daughters, right? You sure you don't want to just have a son or try for a son? So girl dads are really becoming a big thing to be celebrated now. And I think that's awesome. I think it's just a sign of the times how things are changing, because I know it seems like sometimes what I've heard is future fathers will be like, I want a boy,
Mm-hmm.
or they have girls that say, I wish I had a boy. And there's nothing wrong with that if you just wanted to have experienced that, being a father to a son. But it's when it's like that spiteful angry kind of I wish I had a boy thing that it's bad. But what are your thoughts just about how girl dads is a thing?
Definitely wish she had a girl for sure. She's my mom. Yeah.
Wish she had a girl?
Yeah, she wanted a girl for sure.
Yeah. But that's different, she's a woman. I'm talking like men,
No, I'm saying it's like from the other side. Like I felt that from my own mother. Like she said that she wanted to have a girl.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like something that was like, talked about a lot, but it was definitely talked about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
How'd that make you feel?
I mean, it's whatever. It's whatever now. Because I didn't turn out to be a girl. And then I had a brother. So, double whammy.
Dang. That's why I don't wish or hope for a specific sex, because I feel like that's when you get the opposite. But not I don't know. I just feel like that's when you get the opposite.
I agree.
I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care either. I mean, I do, back to the man thing, I do agree. There is a lot, I think, the whole passing of the torch societally for men is different than from women, and the responsibility of other men for you to have a son is really weird. Like you were talking about, they're like, well, you less of a man because you didn't have a son.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you shooting a bunch of blanks.
Okay. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's like, well, you ain't do it right because you ain't have a son. It's like,
yeah.
So I think that is because, again, I think it goes back to unfulfilled potential. Because if you do what you feel like you were put here to do, then you don't feel any responsibility or any obligation to guide anyone any specific way. Because then anyone can be anything if you already know what you got to do. Because it always seems like, even what were we watching today? Jamie Foxx show. Mm-hmm. Even in the Jamie Foxx show, with there's a preacher daddy in it that was crazy.
Yes.
It was trying to get Mary J. Blige's character. Love her the best.
It was Ron Isley was the
yes.
Was the dad.
Yeah, it was trying to impose on her this whole way of living that she just didn't want. And that's because he, even later in the episode, talks about how he wanted to sing secularly and didn't go to where he wanted to go. So now his daughter, who has the sauce, the juice, the gift, mm-hmm. he's trying to be like, nah, put that in the box and go put on a little choir smock and then sing these here solos on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? But if he had gone and did his doo-wop thing and suffered through that and became whoever he was going to become, then why would he feel the need to slow someone else down? Like,
right. If anything, he might appreciate more with what she's trying to do because he struggled to get there and got however far he got, right?
Exactly.
And hopefully there's no jealousy because, right, if he went as far as he could go, went as hard as he could go, and that's where he is, he's like, hey, I couldn't do no better than this. You know, this is where I am, and would have that fulfillment and would even more want to share that with his daughter and say, do what you want to do because I did what I want to do and I'm happy, you know?
Exactly.
And I can say that's one thing that I really love about my dad, and that's why we are so close, is because I never felt that feeling of, you know, he wanted a son or that I was different from boys, like that I couldn't do things that boys could do because I was a girl. Never felt that way. He made sure that we always knew we could do whatever we wanted in life. Go after it. Don't let nobody stop you. You're just as capable, you know, as a man. You know what I mean? I never felt those restrictions on me. Mm-hmm. Or like for sports, or like you should be like this, like not, you know, I didn't get that from him. So, yeah, and that's why we're so close. And he still is like that. He's always like, go for whatever you want. Do what you want to do in life, and don't look back. Don't listen to anybody else. So I think that's important for girl dads. If you're gonna, especially, I mean, it's important if you're a parent, period. But if you're the parent of girls, it is so important not to limit them based on, you know, being a woman. You have to instill that in them.
Yeah.
That they're equal.
Yeah.
So, and not even equal, like just treat them like they're the best thing ever. They can't, then you don't have to explain and be like, oh, you're just as equal, you know, you have the sauce, but just treat them like, yes, you're the shit. You know, no one can stop you.
And you have to treat the women around you like they're the shit too.
Oh yeah, you can't just yes.
Because then you have like a T.I. situation.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, way harder on his daughter, but like,
damn,
will have the second hoe like in the car. In this situation, he had two hoes. There's one in the house, and another one was in the car.
Wait.
I don't know why.
Wait, who was that? Okay.
T.I.
These random, just
yeah,
randoms.
This is all just randos.
No, but you're right, and because that is true. That's important. Dang, that is so important too. I'm glad you said that because right, you can't treat your wife and like she's limited. Like you can't do this and you can't do that, and I run the house and I say what goes, and then turn around and be like, okay, girls, you can do whatever you want in life. Like, they're going to learn more from example than from what you say. So, yeah, exactly that. You can't have it both ways. You got to respect women all around in general.
You have
That's
to.
a good point.
Absolutely
I feel like Is there any one last thing you want to say? Like anything about this? Like last thoughts about the film?
Watch it. I wish it was on DVD.
Besides that, so it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Prime.
Prime. Yeah, it's the Prime only thing, at least for now.
I remember.
What?
I remember what I wanted to say. This is my last closing thoughts. You say
yours.
yours.
You say yours, and I'll say mine.
Okay.
One thing that this movie reminded me of was, so you know how Eddie Murphy had a baby he didn't know about, right? And then she came back to Zamunda, right, with the son. How she and the queen got along, right? Because they could have easily gone the way of like jealousy and bickering and fighting and stuff like they're fighting over here, but they didn't. They totally have respect for each other. She's like, hey, you slept with him before I even knew him. She's like, yes, I did. And you are the queen and you're amazing, right? This reminded me of my uncle in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went to his wedding,
Mm-hmm.
when I first came to LA ever,
Mm-hmm.
he was getting married, and then his ex-wife was there.
What?
And then my other cousin's mama was there. So these are two of my uncle's exes are there to see him get married. And there was no animosity, no, like, they were getting along and talking. All of them. All three of them. They were like, oh yeah, I was married to him at this point, you know, whatever, we have our children. And then this is, yeah, she has, you know, their siblings, you know, our kids now. And then now he's marrying this other woman. They were just like, you know, hallelujah, it's a blessed day, get married. Congrats.
Wow. That's
Girl,
crazy.
you want to go get some cake? Let's go get some wedding cake together. So it just reminded me of that, like,
That's crazy.
Eddie Murphy and, yeah, my uncle's situation.
Crazy.
I was like, that's crazy. So
I mean, it's good if you can get it.
it was just
It's good if
funny.
You can get it, for
that's
sure.
true. Well, you go. Now you finish. What do you want to
Watch that shit. It's fire. And
Right, we watched it twice. We watched it
twice. Keep making remakes if they're gonna be good.
Yes.
Only if they're gonna be good.
wait. You don't know if they're gonna be good though.
Well, then read the script a few more times. Have a couple more, you know, target audiences or whatever.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Because they did a great job.
They did a great job with
Yes.
this one.
Yeah.
I guess final thought. Eddie Murphy is the GOAT.
Yes.
And he will remain the GOAT.
And so is Ruth Carter.
Ruth Carter's always. I feel like every time I see costumes, I just assume she did it, even if it's a white movie. Like, oh yeah. Veronica Mars by Ruth Carter. Oh yeah, Ruth Carter did that too.
Stop.
So yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say. Yeah, Coming to America.
It was great.
Fire.
Okay.
Not to be confused with the first.
Right. So that concludes our episode, right?
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in. This is a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What do we want to say? Follow us on Instagram. If you get a chance, I'm at Corey Monroe.
And I'm at Jalen Eason.